Hi, this is Lee Solden. Second part today um, on a lecture on how to learn Dutch. This is live at World Languages. I teach many languages all the same way. I learn them and teach them the same way. Although lately I do a lot more teaching than learning myself. Um, some languages, I'm like Dutch, for instance, I'm learning on a regular basis. I talk pretty much daily with my language partner. I'm teaching him German. He's teaching me Dutch. I'm teaching him several other languages too. Although we're going to go really heavy on the German, especially on German grammar. He wants to do take some tests, so he wants to really bone up on the grammar. Well, that's cool because he knows at this point how to speak German to a large extent from the system that I use, natural language acquisition. He's getting to the point where he can just listen to an audiobook, often know what it means just by listening to it. So he's catching up to me pretty good there. Um, so that when you know a whole lot of German, that's when you worry about the grammar. Okay, you want to be able to just know it when you hear it, and you let your mind figure out most of the grammar for you. Then when it comes to actually learning the grammar, you want to do it within the context of something you know. Maybe a story you've been listening to a lot, you know every bit of it. Why not learn the grammar from that? Learn why each verb form is what it is. Look at that sentence and say, okay, I know how the story goes. What if I want to change it to past tense here? How would you change it? That kind of thing. Or you could use the storytelling method. Again, this is something I saw guys teaching Russian. If you look up on YouTube, learn Russian storytelling method, uh, you find it. It's like a 20-minute video. This guy's teaching Russian with it. I suggest anybody go look at this. It is a natural language acquisition method. It's not my method, but especially considering that I'm trying to learn so many different languages at the same time, I'm going to rely on that uh, his method when it comes to trying to get myself to be fluent in something. Okay. Let me see here, and I steer people toward that after they've done the 3 steps of my system, which is surround yourself with the language. Number one. Number two, do the ear tuning exercises to tune into it so you can hear it well. Then number three, soak it up by doing read throughs. It's not studying, it is getting introduced to the meanings in a known language just prior to hearing it. And the speech center does the rest. If you give the speech center the associations between a known language and what it's hearing at the moment later, the speech center is going to gobble that up. And overnight, while you're sleeping, your speech center is doing all the work, and you know more of the language in the morning. You keep this process up, and before long, you know a whole lot of the language. And someday, when you've heard enough of this language and you've heard it really well because your ear is getting toward native, well, you're going to start wanting to speak it. You're not going to speak it all that incorrectly. Okay. And it's automatic. It's not from how much you practice, it's how much you listen. And if you hear something perfectly and you keep hearing it over and over again, you're going to want to repeat it, and your speech center is capable of letting you say it pretty close to correctly. Okay, so that's my system in a nutshell, so to speak. Let's talk about brass tacks, as they say. Okay, you go to build something, you're not going to talk about generalities. You're going to talk about exactly how you go about something. Okay, right now, anybody watching this, you have all the tools necessary to learn Dutch. Okay, I mean get a good start on it. There's more. I mean, get a good start on learning Dutch. In other words, you can understand in a very short period of time what this guy's saying in a 7-minute video because you can in a very short time be hearing him perfectly. This doesn't take that long. You start listening to this guy's video like 3 hours a day. It means you put it on loop. On a computer, that's easy. All you gotta do is go to the video, right click it, and choose loop. You're done. It'll just keep playing over and over again. If you're on your phone, I can't tell you how to work your phone but you have to make a playlist and then use the repeat function so that that video will play over and over again. Okay. Can't figure that out? Hey, just play it 7 minutes. And then when you think about it again, rewind it, play it 7 more minutes. It'll add up over time. Can't listen to it 3 hours a day because it's too inconvenient to keep rewinding it. It's going to be slower for you to pick it up, but you'll still pick it up as long as you make an effort to keep listening to it passively. What does that mean, passively? I don't want you to take any of your time beyond rewinding it, okay? I don't want you to take any of your time to listen to it. I want you to be like reading a book you like, or watching your favorite program on TV, listening to your favorite music, and have the Dutch playing at a low volume in the background. Not enough to spoil your enjoyment of the music or spoil your enjoyment of the program. Or if you're studying and you got the Dutch playing, I don't want it to interrupt your studying. It doesn't have to be very loud. And by the way, I've heard some people say that listening to a foreign language in the background can actually boost your studying. So, hey, there's another good reason to learn Dutch or some foreign language. Uh, just have it playing in the background while you're studying, while you're eating. I usually, when I go to bed or take a nap, I'll put something at the last 20 minutes, and so it'll go off all by itself. As I fall asleep, shortly after that, it goes off, right? I don't believe in listening to stuff while I'm actually sleeping, because there's also studies show that noise around you while you're sleeping causes you not to have deep sleep. So I don't go that route. I do encourage people to fall asleep to a language to increase the amount of passive listening time you get, okay? So the video I posted before going on, I did a post where I said, hey, here's today's material, and I posted that link to the video on YouTube that my buddy here, Slash Depover, made. He's my friend slash language partner. I've been working with them for not quite a year yet, but it's getting there. Let me see here. So that's the first thing you need. You need something to listen to, but not just anything. You got to have something you're listening to that you're going to learn. Okay. And I can teach you this audiobook, so that's the one I want you to listen to most of the time. I want you to listen to other things in Dutch too, but at least 50% of the time to that video. Okay. So you've been listening to it, and I tell people go for 21 hours. Don't even worry about it. Just listen to it for 21 hours, like 3 hours a day over a week. Now, what's the next step? Keep listening to it? Yeah, but if you only do that, it won't get you very far, okay? But yes, you do keep listening to it because it's going to support the next step, which is getting your ear tuned into that language. Getting your ear tuned into that language is two components to it. One is to continue the passive listening. The other component is ear tuning exercises. Well, okay, the ear tuning syllables, if you look at the video, there's a bunch of stuff posted to the video. I got this video in different languages and whatnot. You go through the post. There's not that many comments there, and you're going to find the ear tuning syllables that go with this video. And there's a set of instructions to tell you how to do the ear tuning exercises. And all that is, ear tuning is like 30 seconds worth of speech. I think it's only 20 seconds in this case. It's enough. Trust me. You don't need that much. So you got 20 seconds worth of speech of what this guy is saying, represented by English letters, syllable by syllable. So I'm aiming basically at English speakers and anybody who can read the English alphabet. And that's a pretty wide audience worldwide, okay? There's a key, and if you're weak on English and you just don't know any English, well, find somebody who speaks English and can tell you what sounds that are in the key. And hey, even if you don't have that, if you just start trying to do the ear tuning exercises, trying to follow those syllables as best you can, you'll soon realize what you're supposed to be hearing. Okay, as you zero in on it, as you start doing the ear tuning exercises, so they don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know exactly what's in my key. Uh, a key is where I describe E goes E, and A goes ah, etc. I describe for my ear tuning syllables what each letter means. I can go through that right now for the heck of it. A goes ah, E goes eh, E, E. If I have an I in there, it's I. It's the English / German / Dutch I. Okay, it's all the same in the word it. Um, O is just O. Double O, if there was, I don't know, there is not a double O in this, but if there was a double O, then that would be, oh yeah, wait a second, there is a double O. I use OH. O, and the reason I use OH for O is because I'm using OO for ooh as in boot, okay? So I had to go to OH for O. It's an extended long English O. I use a G, and sometimes I might put a CH there by accident for the little hitch in the back of the throat. That's a German / Dutch G. Well, that was a German CH. In Dutch, a CH and a G are the same. It's a little bit of hitch in the back of the throat. Just a little bit. They don't have the really strong one, the German. They don't got that, but they do have a G and a CH. They just simply both refer to the same exact sound. Okay. What else is in there? Hey, okay. There might be a few more things. No, not a whole lot. But okay. So, but the ear tuning syllables, the key, how to use them, it's all right there. And I'll go over how do you do ear tuning exercises? Well, you have to have some ear tuning syllables. You have to have the video, and you have to know where the ear tunings start within the video. Well, in this case, they start right at the beginning. As a matter of fact, within 2 seconds of the video, the video starts. I think it's like 1 second, maybe it starts immediately. So you just slide that bar to the beginning of the video, and you listen to it, and you keep sliding that bar to the front of it, and keep listening to it for the first 20 seconds. And this is now there's only 2 parts to ear tuning. Okay. Now again, within that, doing this over and over and over again for a total of a half hour. Okay, it's enough times to hear these syllables approximately probably 80 times. Okay, so here you are, you're listening over and over and over again to these ear tuning syllables. Okay, now half the time, say 10 times to start. 10 times you're going to read the ear tuning syllables and try to read each one. This is in your mind only, silently, you're not talking. You're trying to read each ear tuning syllable exactly and precisely at the same time that syllable is spoken on the audiobook. So when Slash says a syllable, your eye should be on that syllable. Well, if your ear is not tuned into Dutch, that is impossible. However, I'm telling you for a half hour, you keep trying. Okay, you keep trying these ear tuning exercises. Just 2 days later, all of a sudden, this becomes very easy because your speech center was getting the right input. It's all this is about. It's not about your conscious mind. It's about your speech center. Your speech center needs to keep hearing these um, phrases, or in this case, a short stretch of speech over and over again, and with you listening very, very carefully, trying to catch what's being said. It's equivalent to your mother coming up to you when you're a young child and you don't know what she's saying. Hey, here's your bottle. You don't know what that means yet, but next day, here's your bottle, and the bottle, eventually it's going to actually sound to you as a young child as here's the bottle versus okay. So one of the functions of your speech center is to take noise coming out of a person's mouth and process it into syllables being spoken. Okay. So again, you're just going to keep listening over and over again for a half hour. A little more to it. Remember, I said there's 2 steps. So step 1 is to listen 10 times while attempting to follow those syllables. If you get lost, try to catch back up. Well, how can you catch back up? Well, that means you're intently listening, aren't you? You got your ear on it. You're trying to catch back up. You may not catch up, but you're trying. So I got you listening intently to that string of ear tuning syllables. And some people get good at it. Some people have really good. I mean, okay, depending on the language, you may have a language that you already know that's allows you to either rather quickly or even immediately follow these ear tuning syllables. Like if you're a German speaker, I would not expect you to have any problem following Dutch ear tuning syllables. Okay, but if you're English or Spanish person, yeah, you're gonna have trouble. You're gonna struggle with it. I got someone right now ear tuning to Russian, for instance, and I don't speak hardly any English, so it's hard for me to explain this to him. That yeah, I know it's hard for you. Yes, I know, I understand. You can't actually follow this. You cannot read each, in this case, Russian uh, syllable in terms of my ear tuning syllables as it's being spoken on that audiobook in Russian. No, you can't do that. But if you keep trying for whatever language, it's usually pretty quick. French took me an extra couple of days compared to most. Hindi took me 9 days for it to tune in. It's a little more complex. Um, the basics of Mandarin took 2 days, but I wasn't tuning into the tones. Nowadays, anyone I started Mandarin, I start right off the bat having them ear tuned to the tones first, and then when they're hearing the tones, then I have them do the rest of it. Okay, which is only a couple of days for that. Tones take longer. Okay, so most languages a couple of days. When I studied Korean for 5 years, once upon a time, they told me that you can't even expect to have a decent ear for Korean until you go to Korea, live there for a number of years. When you first get there, even though you might know the whole Korean language by book, you can't understand anything the bus driver says, right? And then, oh yeah, over the years, your ear will get good to it, right? I can get your ear perfectly good to Korean in days with ear tuning syllables. Yeah, you start listening to it 21 hours after listening to it, which you could accomplish in 3 days at 7 hours a day, right? Okay. Day 1, start doing ear tuning to Korean. Day 2, start doing you do more, like an hour a day of ear tuning Korean. Day 3, you hear Korean just fine. Now, do you have a native ear yet? Nope. So you keep doing the ear tuning, but now you can hear Korean pretty darn well. Now is the time to start learning what Korean words are and what a story in Korean means, because you can hear it correctly. Okay. So it doesn't take years and years or months and months. It takes a few days with these ear tuning syllables. And that's why I'm making this video. I'm trying to tell people I stumbled upon a system where you can hear a language correctly almost instantaneously compared to other ways that people go about learning a language. Okay. And before I learned that, I learned the third step. Okay, surround yourself, 1. Number 2, second step is do the ear tuning exercises. And you never quit doing those ear tuning exercises completely. You can slow down a little bit, but you always try and go toward a native ear. And you never stop the passive listening, because now the passive listening is supporting both your further ear tuning and picking up the language. How do you pick the language up? Remember, you can hear it right now. You can hear it correctly. You simply look at some notes about what that sentence means. The notes are in your known language. You look over those notes. It doesn't have to be written. They can be verbal. You can listen. In other words, you can listen to this audio that I just did for those few sentences I just covered, right? You can listen to that, and just after you've listened to what I said, listen to the Dutch. So you go back and forth, listen to what I said the sentence means, and then listen to the Dutch. And you want to listen about 3 times. And while you're listening, you also want to read. Well, I got the text available also. That text is available if you go to the, if you go to the YouTube video, you look through the comments, you'll see that the text is there. So you can read the text as you're listening to this guy, okay? And you can do that a few times. This is not studying. This is absolutely not studying. All you're doing is just for a moment looking at my notes, okay? And you can feel free to copy those notes down yourself, put them all. You can put the Dutch in one line, you can put all my notes in the second line. And you can, if there's ear tuning syllables for that line, you can put those all there too. And I do encourage that, by the way. Get into that. It doesn't help a whole lot for Dutch, but like if you're learning Russian, you want to put the ear tuning syllables right underneath the Russian text, and it acts as a primer to learn the Russian alphabet. So no one has to study the Russian alphabet. It seems pretty complicated, but no one has to study it. You first of all learn how to hear Russian correctly by my ear tuning syllables. Then you put the ear tuning syllables right underneath the Russian, and then you go back and start ear tuning back and forth between using the Russian alphabet and my ear tuning syllables. In no time at all, you recognize all the Russian letters, okay? Without ever having studied them. Instead of studying them, you use them, okay? For Dutch, if you already know English, it's the same alphabet. It doesn't help a whole lot to, but still you might want to do it if you feel you need to. Okay, so again, back to this point, it's not studying, because you're only looking at my notes for a moment, just to know for that moment what the sentence means. And then you listen to it while reading it, maybe 3 times. And then you close your eyes and listen to it to see how well you understand it by ear alone. At that point, you may not understand that sentence when it's spoken to you, even though academically you just looked at what it meant. You listen to the Dutch, and you're completely nonplussed then on your first day. It doesn't matter. Your speech center, which thinks 20 times faster than you do, which is a supercomputer for languages up in your head, it caught it. Overnight, your speech center is going to process things. That means it's going to take all that data, try to build paradigms to allow you, in other words, it's going to rewire your brain a bit to allow you to understand the Dutch the next day. So the next day, do you know all the Dutch? No, but you know it better. So you may have been completely nonplussed today when you got introduced to these words. Tomorrow, you're going to know some of it. The next day, even more. And it's going to snowball. It's going to accelerate. Because the more Dutch you know, the quicker new words will be absorbed by your brain, because you got more to work with. And again, it's not about your conscious, it's about your subconscious. It's about specifically your speech center. It's absolutely amazing. And before long, you go from, okay, this is a 7-minute long audiobook. This is where you're starting, and it won't be very long where you can just listen to an hour of Dutch without ever having read it, and you know what it means. Does not take that long. Okay, it's If you look at the amount of time that you put into this, it's very little. Because passive listening doesn't take any time. That's just having it in the background. It's there to boost both your ear for Dutch and to boost the rate at which you pick up the vocabulary from the read throughs. The read throughs is what I call my third part of the system, where you're associating known words to the target language words, which is Dutch in this case. So the system is very, very quick. You learn a whole lot of Dutch, and the goal is that you learn so much Dutch so fast that one day you listen to completely new material you've never heard before, never read it, and you know it. Okay. Now you've gotten pretty far at this point. What do you do with that? Well, hey, you still want to go read that material, because even though you know how the story went, there's probably some words in there that you don't know. So go ahead and take the time to look those up. You know, and read, and then listen and read to maybe. I'm not telling anyone to stop reading while they're listening, because I want you to keep building up your reading speed for Dutch. But at the same time, the goal is to be able to hear a story in Dutch that you've never heard before and understand it. Okay, that's the goal. And once you get to that point, what do? Well, you keep learning. Now you just keep listening to one story after another, or reading it and listening. I don't, but you want to do both. Okay. And even when you're that advanced, you still want to take the time to read and listen to a story. So and then make sure you know, look up any words you don't know, and then listen to it and make sure and try to ensure that you, by listening to it, that you know every word in the story. And you don't have to 100% every story you do, but you should 100% some of the material, especially some of your favorite stories. Maybe you have 5 audiobooks, like 5 hours long total, that you really like. I would say those 5, try to listen to often, try to know them absolutely perfectly, everything about them.